Hi there folks, and welcome back to RRTV on this great Monday night, and we're here tonight broadcasting live from Virginia International Raceway, and we're bringing you the Skip Barber Monday Lights Racing Series. I'd like to welcome to the commentary box Richard Craig. Sorry Richard, how you going there mate?
Yeah, good, thanks, Bernie. And I'm just checking out the field. We've got a great group of racers in tonight, so I think we should be in for a bit of excitement up the front. There's some highly competitive guys who have turned up to race tonight.
Yeah, we've got a really good field, a strong field here of 14, and some of the big names. Well, we've got a lot of big names in there, haven't we? And we'll go through that field now. So at the moment we've got Anton Mays out there in provisional pole with a 2:10.106, followed by Ewan Noralampi third at the moment. Anthony Lucas followed by Ben Taylor in fourth. Fifth is Ludwig Geedy. Sixth Colin Sudi. Kevin Henderson's out there as well at the moment, just dropped down to eighth. We've got Darryl Ridley, Brad Lewington, Timothy Butler, Mick Gray, Joshua Skin and Graham Morrill. So that's a good field of 14 out there tonight.
Yeah, it is, Bernie, and I noticed Kevin didn't get a time on his first time lap, so he'll be lagging a bit behind, so he'd be looking to improve on where he is, and he's got some good pace this week. But the guys will be struggling a little bit tonight, Bernie. It's reasonably hot. It's 27 degrees Celsius for the ambient temperature, but the track is up to 42 degrees Celsius. And this place gets quite slippery, makes the braking zones and some of the turn-ins a little bit treacherous, so they're going to have to be careful.
Yeah, so basically what that means is when the track's really hot, the tyres probably overheat very easily. Is that a good assumption of what's going to happen tonight?
Well, I suppose that, yeah, the tyres get warm, but it's more a question of getting them to actually bite into the surface and get some grip. And you've got the heavy braking zone into the horseshoe, which is turn 1, first hairpin, and then the tricky and quite famous oak tree hairpin, turn 11 and 12, where and you're coming from quite a lot of speed, and you've got to brake, get the car turned in, and then do the next part of your braking while you're turning around the corner. And without real confidence in the grip, that can be quite tricky. And yet that's vital, because you've got a very long straight, the back straight, where you make up a lot of time and do a lot of drafting. So the boys are just going to have their wits about them tonight.
Yeah, that's right. They're going to have to get that oak tree corner, I think it was called, or still is, right. That's probably the most important corner on the track, because that's going to carry them all that momentum down the back straight here and up through the S's.
That's right. So you come off that back straight, the interesting complex, the roller coaster, turn 14, and you wind your way down the hill to Hogpen, which brings you out onto the front straight. And again, that corner falls away from you, and without grip, quite treacherous, because of course you're trying to get on the power as early as you can to make the most of your run down that front straight, where there's also, of course, more drafting and a great overtaking opportunity into turn 1.
Yeah, and it was good talking about that, because as we were doing that, Ben Taylor was showing us that part of the track, so that worked out well. But one thing we need to get across before this race starts tonight, folks, is the point score for this series. Now, Richard, can you explain how, just very quickly, how the point score's working? Because from what you said last week, people can earn points in the top 2 splits. Is that correct?
Well, in fact, all of the splits earn points, but we've done an offset. So if you come 7th in the second split, if you come first in the second split, you're going to score the same points as someone who comes 7th in the top split. So it basically deals everybody in, and the current overall standings actually reflect that, Benny.
Yeah, so we've got that up on the screen now at the moment. So at the moment, the series is led by Darryl Ridley on 57 points. Weeks we've counted is 2. So Darryl Ridley is in the lead, followed by Mick Gray on 50 points. Brad Lewington is sitting on 48 and Ben Conroy 46. Now it looks like for 5th we've got Ben Seidel, Jason Willman, Lucas Beer all on equal points. That takes us down to 7th. 8th is Craig Deschen. 9th, Trevor Scott on 35. And rounding out our top 10 is Mark Jeffrey on 32 points. So are we giving these guys any drop rounds?
Yeah, they get 2 drop rounds. So we've got 10 rounds in total, and they get to drop 2. See, it's interesting to note, Ben Conroy came first in the second split last week, and he's currently sitting up there in 4th. So that gives you an indication of how this will work. Ben Seidel also, Seidel came 3rd in the second split, and he's sitting up there in 5th. So you can see everybody gets a chance to be competitive, which was really our intent here.
Yeah, it's a fantastic initiative too, and folks, we've just finished qualifying, so the guys are about to grid, so we'll take you through the final grid positions now as they're gridding up. So we have Ewan Norilampi in position 1, 209.368. That's quite a fast time there. Ben Taylor in 2nd. 3rd will be Anton Mays. Kevin Willman will start out of 4th. We've got Geedy out of 5th position tonight.
We've got Anthony Lucas in 6th, followed by Kevin Henderson, Colin Suti, Mick Gray, Darryl Ridley rounding out your top 10.
And then in 11th we've got Butler, followed by Skin in 12th, Lewington out of 13th, and rounding out a field of 14th we have Graham Morrell. So it should be quite an exciting race here. As we can see, the field now starting to grid up, and we'll be racing in no time here, Richard.
Yes, and the first couple of laps are going to be interesting because of the effect of the draft. The field can stay compressed for a little bit longer than some people might be comfortable with. You can really be a good solid 3/4 of a second slower than someone and stay with them on this track, and then hold them up in turns. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out, Benny. And the engines are rising now.
Green flag.
Yeah, so we have a green flag, and we are underway for round 5. The Skip Barber Monday Night Lights. It looks like a nice clean start, but it'll be interesting to see how they go when they get to corner 1 here.
Yeah, Yuha's going to play defensive and hold this inside line.
So got you are taking the lead, but who was that flew up on the inside there? That was, I'm not sure if that was Ludwig.
It's a Ludwig.
Ludwig, he's come from 5th up to 2nd in one corner. What a fantastic move. Oh, we've got a car rolling as well. So, he's rolled about 15 times back there. So we'll bring you that action very shortly, folks, and see what happened to that poor driver there.
Well, he really went airborne, didn't he, Benny? I don't know, there must have been some major contact in there. I didn't see it, I just saw his car cartwheeling off in the background.
Yes, I'm having a look. That, I think, may have been Anthony Lucas, which it was, and we will go back to this replay and just see exactly what happened here. Yeah, so he caught wheels with another competitor there, but he's rolled that at least 15 times there and ended up sitting across the fence. So that's how far he rolled that car. So that's very bad news at the moment for Anthony Lucas, who will no doubt, he's back at the pits getting a fast repair.
Yeah, that was a bit ugly. In the meantime, Yuha's led them up the back straight. And looks like the boys are just going to hold station for a bit, let the cars warm up. Although, of course, as I say that, Kevin Henderson's made a move into the roller coaster on Kevin Willman. But the top 4, anyway, are not looking too racy at the moment. They're looking like they're content to let it sort itself out.
Yeah, and they're getting a bit of a gap in that field. So at the moment we've got Ewan Norilampi in first, followed by Ludwig Geedy, who's now got that slipstream and will be looking to make a move. Ben Taylor is in third, also coming under pressure from Anton Mays. Ludwig's on the outside here. Ewan's going to take the inside. But Ludwig, is he great under brakes, but looks like Ewan is not going to have a bar of that at the moment.
Yes, now, later on in the race, you might see the driver hold that line around the outside at turn 1, because you can get the inside here up into NASCAR corner, turn 3, for the run down to turn 4, which is a tricky little left hook. You need to compromise that corner, and that can leave you vulnerable. And as the cars now, they're coming into a complex called the Snake, where they wind right up the hill. You'll see them take a lot of curb, but there's draft active all the way up this back section of the track. Full throttle all the way up.
Yeah, and we could hear Ludwig there in turn 4, just on and off the throttle, just trying to coax the car to turn back there. But you're right, he's lifting a little bit now as he gets a draft. But yeah, it's a very fast section of this track, isn't it, for the Skip Barbers?
Very fast, and that little left-hander at the top of the hill there is tricky as well, easy to run out of road. I see Antoine Mays has got a bit of front wing damage, and that will hurt his speed down the straight, so he's going to have to stay in the draft, or he'll find himself dropping off from these guys.
So as we can see now, Anton Mays, as Richard called it, does have some front wing damage there, and he's just, as you said, tucking in. And again, Ludwig's having a go on the outside, and they've collected. That's Ewer around, and he's gone into, oh, we've got a big crash here.
Oh, that was unfortunate. That looked to me like it might have been a bit of net code coming up the top, and more damage there. So Anton actually is going to inherit the earth here, Bernie. He's come out of it unscathed from that. But I think Ben got partly down the hill, and then maybe he had his back wheels out of alignment, because then he spun. So a bunch of them are coming into the pits now. We need to just sort out who survived this behind Anton.
Yeah, so we've got Anton Mays with a huge lead after that accident, 3.5 seconds. Kevin Henderson's in second at the moment. Timothy Butler having a go on Kevin here. Mick Gray survived at the moment. Graham Morell's also challenging Mick for 5th position. Brad Lewington survived that incident, and Joshua Skin. So the drivers affected is Darryl Ridley, Ewan Norilampi, Ben Taylor, Kevin Willman, Colin Sudi, Anthony Lucas, and Ludwig Geedy. So we're going to jump back to that replay, folks, and just see how that unfolded.
Yeah, and Mick's missing a front wing entirely. I think Kevin might be as well, and Ludwig's called it quits for the night.
Yeah, so we're having a look at the action. We'll go back a bit further, I think. Bear with us for a moment, folks, and we will have a close look at this. So we're just coming up the back straight here. Ludwig's having a go on the outside of Ewer here. And as they're approaching there, oh yeah, Ludwig on the outside has, he's basically caught Ewer's wheel. Ewer's spun around there, taking Ben Taylor out, and it's just a huge concertina there. Mick Gray was also involved in that, and Colin Sudi looks like he rolled during that incident. So that's, yeah, we can see there Colin Sudi now just getting back on his wheels. Darryl Ridley getting going. Yeah, that's taken out at least 6 cars in the field, Richard.
Yeah, that was pretty ugly. And so the guys that have inherited this, they're really going to be in for a bit of fun now. And we've got Brad Lewington and Graham Morell, who are going to be pretty racy, I'd say. And it'll be really interesting to see whether they can close this down to Kevin Henderson. Good to see Kevin running in second spot, because he's had some really bad luck, I've got to say, recently. But he's got no front wing at all. And I think around here he might actually struggle like that, Benny.
Yeah, and he's just hoping that Graham Morell, Joshua Skin here are battling for that 4th position, side by side, coming into the second corner here. And who's that behind them at the moment? So we've got Joshua Skin, Brad Lewington, Graham Morell here all fighting, and Mick Gray is hanging on. But while they're doing this, that's allowing Kevin Henderson without a wing to try to pull away. And of course Anton Mays, our leader, 4.4 seconds lead at the moment.
Yes, and if they keep this up, Anton will disappear off into the sunset, that's for sure. But look, now that Graham's got ahead, we'll just see. He has been really improving and showing some pace. So I'm just not quite sure whether he's got the measure of Brad Lewington or not. So that'll be interesting. But if these two guys work together, they can definitely close the gap down to Kevin, I'd say.
Yeah, we're riding on with Brad now as he's coming through Oak Tree here onto the back straight. I'll tell you what, Graham's doing a great job there. He got off that corner really well.
Yeah, look, Graham's driving has really been coming together over the last couple of months. I've been watching him, a little bit like Della Ridley, actually. It's like things have clicked and he's showing some real pace. So if he settles in and, if he can cope with the pressure that Brad is inevitably going to put on him, just see, I think that he could slowly close this gap down. They're just on lap 4 now, so they've got a fair amount of racing to go. It's a 12-lap race all up, Kenny.
That's right, we've got 9 laps to go, almost 8 now. Just having a look at Mick Gray here on the back. He's got rear wing damage, plus he's got no front wing on that car, so he's going to be really struggling as he's starting to drop off that pack now. I wouldn't be surprised. He may try to come in the pits, I guess, but he's sitting in 6th at the moment.
There's nothing to be gained for him to come into the pits. I guess the question is his steering straight? I haven't gone in car to have a look, to be honest. Been a bit busy.
Yeah, we're jumping on now with Mick Gray, and when we get on a straight bit of track, we'll confirm it. Yeah, the steering looks pretty straight. He's not wrestling it, and he's both hands are pretty even. So he looks like he got away with that. And of course, he pretty much ran into the side of Colin Sudi, which flipped Colin over. But he was lucky he didn't get any steering damage in that incident.
Yeah, so now Graham has actually stretched his lead on Brad, and he's not in the safety zone yet. All it takes is to just mess up your entry into the Oak Tree slightly, and the draft's all on again. But as I said earlier, if Graham can really keep it cool here, he could do quite well. I really think that he can close the gap down to Kevin. I think Kevin will find he struggles without his front wing.
Yeah, we're having a look from Joshua Skin's car here, and Brad's car looks pretty loose through the corners, which might be affecting him, and that's making him a bit vulnerable here to Joshua Skin, who's in the draft now.
Yeah, well, that of course will be perfect for Graham too. If these guys fight a bit, that will definitely hold them up. And particularly fighting at the top of the hill up here, coming into the roller coaster, that's really suboptimal if you pursue that.
Yeah, well, Joshua went straight past Graham there, Brad, sorry, and there wasn't much contest, so I think Brad's sort of conceded that position and is just trying to now hold on to 5th.
Yeah, he may want to just check out what Joshua's got. He may feel Joshua's a bit faster and he's better off being tucked in behind as well. Or he might be a bit nervous having him behind him, in which case he'll bide his time. But Joshua has come off that final corner, the hog pen, with a fair turn of speed.
Yeah, he definitely has. He's got the momentum down here in the back straight, and he's starting to close that gap on Graham Morrell. Having a look at the times at the moment, Joshua... He did the last lap was a 2:11.080 compared to Graham Morrell's 2:11.220 and Brad Lewington's 2:11.939. But at the moment, Kevin Henderson's doing 2:11.140 and Anton Mays is scorching 2:10.702. So his lead is now out to 5.6 seconds and growing.
Yes, and of course with no pressure, Anton can afford to take optimal lines everywhere, so he'll really be cruising it. I think in the 210s he's not pushing himself to the limit. He'll be just taking it quite easy to make sure that he doesn't get himself into any further trouble, I'd say.
Yeah, and with 7 laps to go, we're having a look at the guys that came unstuck in that big incident. Ben Taylor, 23 seconds off the lead. He's in the 210s as well. In fact, he's faster than our leader, with a 2:10.684. Ben did. Ewer's right behind him in the slipstream again, 2:10.698. Kevin Willman sitting in 11 again, 2:10.688, and Colin Sudi and Anthony Lucas are also in the 2:10, so we can expect to see these guys start to close in.
Yeah, they've got a bit of time. I just was watching Ben come pretty sideways out from behind the oak tree, so he'll be pretty vulnerable to you, huh?
Yeah, and Ewer's now making that move. He's probably thinking what happened about 3 laps ago, but they've got through there pretty cleanly and they're on their way. And of course, these guys don't want to fight if they've got any hope in trying to get into the top 6 in this race.
No, and they're both pretty experienced, so I did hear them sorting it out. Ben agreed that he wasn't going to fight you half of the corner then, so they're just going to put in some solid laps and see what they can make of the rest of the race, I think, Benny.
And Darryl Ridley, who was also in that incident, but he's recovering really nicely. He's 7th, and he did what did he do? A 2:10.189, but then that was bettered for the fastest lap by Ewan Norilampi with a 2:10.145. So these guys are pushing, and now Darryl's on the back of Mick Gray here.
Yeah, and Mick must be really struggling. Darryl was well over 2 seconds faster in that last lap. Mick was down to a 2:12.5, so he's obviously really struggling.
Yeah, well, with no front wing and a damaged rear wing, that car's probably more like a Formula Ford at the moment than a Skip Barber for poor Mick, but he's just trying to get this car to the finish line, and you can just see how fast Darryl Ridley is closing in on Mick here.
Yes, and while we've been watching those, Joshua's made his way up in front of Graham. As they came out of Oak Tree now up onto the back straight. Graham's pretty close behind. He's certainly within drafting distance if he wants. But and they've stretched the lead, or the gap between themselves and Brad quite a bit here.
Yeah, they've still got, as we can see now, Graham on the outside again, having a look at Joshua here. He's making the move, but under brakes. Joshua's going to fight it. No, he's tucked back in. Good move there. And so Graham Morell's up into 3rd. Josh Skinner 2nd. They're looking at the gap from Graham up to Kevin Henderson here. 0.5 of a second at the moment.
Sorry, from Graham to Kevin's about 3 seconds, isn't it? 6.9, 10, 4 seconds, something like that, I think.
Yeah, you're right. I was just going off my overlays here. But again, Joshua's having a look on the outside. These guys want to fight for this position, I think.
Yeah, it's not really the thing for them to be doing. I understand why they're racing, but they really are not putting the pressure on Kevin, so they're not using their speed.
And I tell you what, Kevin's doing a fantastic job here. He's got no front wing at all, yet he's in the 2:11.144, so he's only losing 0.4 of a second to Graham Morell at the moment.
Yeah, he's been putting in quite consistent laps, hasn't he? Which probably can't be said for the guys behind. They're jumping around from 11s to 12s and 10s,
Yeah, and while they're battling, this is just working into Kevin's into his hand here, and 5 laps to go. That gap has not come down. It's down to about 3 seconds, but Kevin may hold on to this position,
I think he might. They haven't really made the progress I thought that they would, and you've got the other thing. You catch up for sure, but then you have to get past, and that's not easy, and can take you a couple of laps to sort out. So I'd say Kevin, if he just keeps his head and keeps these consistent laps in, looks good for 2nd place here.
Yeah, and we've got Darryl Ridley now up into 6th, honing in on the back of Brad Lewington. Darryl's absolutely flying out here, 2:10.812 last lap, and Of course, he passed Mick Gray pretty quickly, but Mick's pretty much driving a very damaged car here. Having a look further back, Ewan Noralampi's now fighting Timothy Butler for 8th position.
Yeah, and Daryl's going to catch Brad here. He was a good 2 seconds faster than Brad on the last lap. And Brad actually looks to be struggling, particularly as he comes over the top of the hill. He just doesn't look very comfortable in his car tonight, Benny.
Yeah, Brad's his car's quite loose, and he's really having to work that wheel at the moment to keep that from sliding at the moment, so I don't think he's very happy with that setup at all.
Yeah, and in the meantime, it looks to me like Kevin's gone faster than both Joshua and Graham on the last lap, so they're in no danger of catching him so long as he's lapping faster, that's for sure, Bernie.
Yeah, and we just rode on board with Brad Lewington there, and you could just hear his tyres spinning up as he's exiting the corners. So he's got his hands full out there tonight. But the battle's still going on between Graham Morrell, Josh Skinner here for 3rd position. But Kevin Henderson is 7.7 seconds down. He's got a gap there of just over 3 seconds. So they're not making any headway on Kevin at this stage.
No, and Anton is still lapping in the low 210s, so he's stretched his lead out considerably. So really, the race between Graham and Joshua for the 3rd spot on the podium is the main race. I guess it might not be the most exciting with the people we've got coming through the field who probably could cause a bit of mayhem on the last few laps of the race. And we'll see Yuha be right on top of Mick Gray very shortly, I'd say.
Yeah, Yuha set the fastest lap last time around with a 2:10.142, so he's absolutely flying. That gap at the moment, what is it? It's got to be 0.5 of a second at this stage on Mick Gray here.
Yeah, I'd say give him another lap, and he'll be all over the back of Mick. I doubt he'll be able to close down Daryl. Daryl's just that much further down, but we'll see. And now Daryl's got past Brad, so that'll really help his cause here.
Yeah, that's right. And I think looking at the times here, we've only got 3 laps to go, but Brad's lapping in the 2:12, so Yua's taking 2 seconds a lap out of him, so Yua may even get up to 6th position by the end of this race.
And that'd be a pretty good recovery drive from the early mayhem that they had at the top of the roller coaster, I was got to say.
Yeah, it's a fantastic recovery drive, and it's great to see that he didn't just retire from the race, but he's in there pushing and trying to get the best result he possibly can.
Yeah, and Brad seems to have become fired up again with Daryl going past him. I don't think he's going to be able to stay with Daryl, to be honest, but he's going to give it a go.
Yeah, I'd say with Daryl passing him, it's raised his attention that these guys are in that accident coming through the field, and they're coming fast. So I'd say he's just trying to push it to stay ahead of Yua here, as Yua's now getting the toe on Mick, and this should be quite an easy pass.
Yes, he's going to fly past. Yeah, Mick's just saying over the radio that he's got lots of damage. Yeah,
so Yua's gone past there, and Mick's not in any position to fight for that position. But, it's great camaraderie out here, isn't it? With the guys that are damaged, they know they're damaged, and they don't want to spoil anyone else's race by fighting too aggressively out there.
Yeah, that's right. You are quite nicely telling Mick that your rear wing's damaged, and got past him, looked in his rear view mirror, and told him he didn't have a front wing. So it's all quite friendly.
Yeah, well, Mick Gray's probably gone, well, gee, thanks for that. I knew something was wrong, but now I know what the true extent is. As we can see, Ben Taylor now passing Timothy Butler. That's for 9th position, and they will be closing in on Mick Gray soon. But at the moment, Anton Mays, 9.6 second lead, so he's definitely benefited from that incident earlier, and he stretched that. Kevin Henderson in second, fantastic here. He's still got he's stretched that out to 3.6 seconds now over Graham Morrell and Josh Skinner, who continue to fight. But while they're doing this, Darryl Ridley's starting to close in, and he's bringing Brad Lewington with him. And you're right, Brad's got a new gust of wind here, and he's challenging Darryl.
Yeah, Kevin's getting faster, actually. He did a 2:11.0 last time around, so he's decided to speed up. But I think we're going to end up with these two groups. I'm pretty sure Darryl's not going to close down the gap to Joshua, so it's going to be interesting to see how these pairs sort themselves out. I'd hazard a guess and say that the order will remain as it is, but you never know. Joshua's close enough to cause some real grief on Graham. And Brad, I think, is possibly looking just a little bit too out of touch for Darryl.
Yeah, well, he's actually losing going down that back straight. So he's suffering a bit of top end speed there, I think. But while they're doing that, Noralampi, he's closed in to 4.5 seconds. I think they're only going to have one more lap to go, so he'll probably get within 2 seconds, but I don't think he's going to get Brad at this point.
No, although you'd always have a nervous moment at this track and find yourself on the grass. And boy, do you go for a long, long skid on the grass of this place.
Yeah, it's like driving on ice out there. As into the final lap, folks, we have Anton Mays in first, Kevin Henderson second. Ewan Noralampi just did a 2:09.654 as his fastest lap of the race, with 1 lap to go, and Graham's now defending from Josh Skinner, so we can expect quite a bit of action from these two in this last lap.
Yeah, well, it is interesting, Bernie. We may not have had the race we wanted with some of the hot guys up the front duking it out, but from a series point of view, this is going to mix the points up really quite nicely and make things very tight for the lead of this little series. It'll be quite interesting to see how this spins out, I think.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting once those points are tallied, because it's really, I think, tipped this field on its head with that big incident we had earlier on. But at the moment, Anton Mays 10-second lead at this stage, and he'll be just, he's on the back, where is he? Coming up the back straight. So he's just looking at bringing this car home. Kevin Henderson, great drive there in second position, maintaining that gap to Graham Morrell and Josh Skinner. It looks like Josh may not have anything for him here, but Darryl Ridley at the moment, he's 1.5 seconds from Josh at this stage of the race.
Yeah, Graham's got his car well under control. I just watched him drift it beautifully around South Bend, but having said that, Joshua is going to make the move up into the top of the hill with the roller coaster.
And he's made that move, and Graham's looking on the back here. This is going to be a very exciting finish, but up front at the moment we have Anton Mays coming across to take round 5 of the Skip Barber Championship. Kevin Henderson home in second position. Great job, but Josh Skinner here holding out Graham Morrell. Graham's got a run on him, but he's not going to have enough here.
No, just under a car length at the line. I have to correct you, though. It's the Monday Lights, not the Skip Barber Championship, Bernie. But good on you for your enthusiasm. We're a couple of weeks away from our next round, though.
Yeah, sorry, folks. Round 3 of the Skip Barber Monday Lights Racing Series here tonight. And so having a look, Ben Taylor came home in 8th. Timothy Butler 9th. So we'll take you through the full finishing positions here, folks. And So Anton Mays wins with 11-second lead over Kevin Henderson. Fantastic drive by Kevin tonight, finishing in second position. Josh Skinner in third, followed by Graham Morrell fourth. Darryl Ridley leads the recovery of the cars involved in that first incident in fifth. Brad Lewington holds on to sixth. Ewan Lampe, he what a fantastic drive, setting the fastest lap on the second last lap there to come home in seventh. Ben Taylor finishes in eighth. Timothy Butler home in ninth. Mick Gray holds out for 10th position in an extremely damaged car. Kevin Willman comes home in 11th. Colin Sudi 12th. 13th was Anthony Lucas, and Ludwig Guidi unfortunately retired from the race after that big incident we saw earlier on tonight, Richard. So the race may go to Anton tonight, but the fastest lap goes to Ewa Lampe with a 2:09.654. Looking at the drive of the night, though, I'm going to put my hat in for Kevin Henderson tonight, I think.
I think I'd agree with that, Bernie. I think Kevin's been plugging away. He's had some really bad luck, but he stayed at it. He put his head down, knuckled under, put in clean laps, damaged car. Would have been, a bit of an endurance test for him on his own, but he did really well, so I'd agree with that. Kevin Henderson for the drive of the night. And well done, Kevin. Good to see you on the podium, mate.
Yeah, that was a fantastic drive, and, even though he had that wing damage and Graham and Josh were battling, they couldn't close him down, so that's... he's definitely shown how to drive a damaged car out there tonight.
Yeah, and I was just listening to some of the chat, and the guys aren't too happy with Ludwig's move. So there's a little bit of back chat about that, and I think I possibly understand that. I think he probably stretched things a bit too far, a bit risky and a bit unnecessary. It's a dangerous spot up there going into the roller coaster early on.
Yeah, it certainly is, and we're going to jump back to that incident, folks, and we'll just have another look at that. Well, we would if I could, but we can't. So that's a bit of a anticlimax, isn't it?
Well, you got it the first time around?
Yeah, that's right. We've got it the first time around. I'm trying to get it on the second time around here, and we might as well have a look at this if we can. So we're
I was going to say, I'm just going to check this from Ben's point of view, because Ben Taylor's really in the box seat for this.
Yeah, we'll do the same thing here. We can see them coming up, and we'll just play this out and see what unfolded here.
Now, so it's actually, is it at the end of lap 2? I thought it was a lap 1 move, but I think it's the last part of lap 2.
Yeah, and he actually had that move made, but it looks like he might have just hit that ripple strip a bit, and that's pushed him into the front wheel of Ewa there.
Yeah, when I first saw it, I thought it was a bit of net code. I didn't think that the cars were that close, but it can always be a little bit misleading.
Yeah, that's right. It just looked like he actually had that move made, but he just sort of drifted across, and Ewa's just collected him in the rear wheel there. Yeah,
that is a bit tricky. So I'm seeing that there's a bit of net code, but I think undoubtedly that's what's happened. He's gone to come across, and Yuha's still holding his line, because he's got to line himself up to the corner as well. Left with nowhere to go. Then Yuha comes back across the track. Ben runs into him, and then the mayhem starts from there, because they're blocked at the top of the hill.
Yeah, I'd probably go out on a limb and call that a racing incident. I think it's once we look at it from Ben's point of view, it was quite a gutsy move there, but we've seen guys make that move all night, so I think I'd put it down to a racing incident myself.
Yeah, I think the only question really over that is it an appropriate move so early in the race? I think, you're not very far away from a straight if you really want to get past. I mean, one way of looking at it is why go past at the top of the hill early on when the other guy's just going to come straight back past you again on the main straight?
Yeah, that's one way to look at it, I guess. But that's a beauty of racing. Everyone has a different version of what's happened there, and we hope to see Ludwig back next week to have a better race here in our Monday Lights Skip Barber series. I got that right that time, Richard. So
yeah, it certainly livened things up for us, didn't it?
Oh, it certainly did, and it was great to see those faster drivers coming through the field there. But we've also had a bit of other news through the week from iRacing. Bit of a surprise, really. iRacing's come out with quite a few surprises recently, but the latest one is a great story for open wheeler racing, especially for the guys in Australia and Europe that love their open wheelers.
That's right, Benny. iRacing have announced during the week that they've done a deal with Renault and that they're going to bring us the Formula Renault 2-litre open wheeler and also the 3.5, the hulking great 500-plus brake horsepower V8 in it, which sounds like a Formula One car should sound, basically. Sounds awesome. But the 2-litre version is no slouch either with, slick tyres, carbon tub frame, adjustable aero and whatnot, and a little over 200 brake horsepower. So a couple of really interesting additions into the open wheeler mix for us, Penny.
Yeah, and combine that with the new Formula One that's due out, I think, next year, and that'll probably bring along with it hopefully DRS and KERS, and it's looking really good for the open wheeler drivers out there in the coming 12 months.
That's right, and there are a lot of Skippy drivers that have been hankering for something that's just a bit more edgy because, the Skippy's a great car and particularly the iRacing model of it is delivered so that the car has a lot of feel, so it's very rewarding to drive, but, it's got grooved sports tyres on it, so it just doesn't really have the sort of rubber on the road, and the ground effects are very limited as well. The aero package is not adjustable and really isn't doing a lot in the way of downforce. It's more about trim. So this Formula Renault 2-litre car is going to really open things up for a lot of people.
Yeah, and iRacing's come out and said that they're basically completing that pathway for open wheeler races from Skip Barber all the way up to Formula One. So that's going to be fantastic. And then I guess, who knows what could happen on the IndyCar side of things. I wouldn't be surprised if we at some point see an Indy Light make its appearance there to complement the IndyCar and the Star Mazda car as well, which would probably cap off the American open wheeler pathway.
That's right. You could end up with a sort of a mirror image of what they've got now in the real world with the Mazda Road to Indy, and then, as you say, with the European cars, you've got the road to Formula One as well with the Formula Renault series. So with what they've done as well with the endurance racing and the GT cars, things are really looking good for road racing at the moment.
Yeah, they certainly are, and I could not be happier, because I'm a road racer. But saying that, I love my NASCAR and the ovals, and I've got a lot of respect for all those NASCAR and IndyCar drivers out there. I was watching the IndyCar replay yesterday live, and I tell you what, I've got a lot of respect for those IndyCar drivers.
Yeah, well, it's very interesting, isn't it? People complain about drivers being aggressive on iRacing and, racing wheel to wheel, and some of the action we saw from Iowa Corn was wheel to wheel, 200 plus miles an hour with, a foot between a wheel and a wall and 6 inches to the car sitting next to you. Not very comfortable stuff, and, raised a few eyebrows, but, boy, they really put it out there, don't they, Bernie?
They certainly do. And folks, looking to yesterday, if you missed our broadcast of the Australian Endurance Championship, I highly recommend you watch that race because it absolutely went off, and we were extremely lucky to have Shane van Gisbergen and Justin Ruggier take part in that race, and it was it had me on the edge of my seat. So the replay is up on the RRTV YouTube channel at the moment. So if you like enduro racing, check that out. But coming Thursday night, we're back with the Star Mazdas, with the Star Mazda Australian Championship. And again, that's I'm looking forward to that because those guys have been entertaining us week in, week out. And then, of course, Sunday night, we're back with the SEK Queensland GT3 Series. So I think that's going to be a sprint round, so that should be quite interesting as well. So, Richard, we better wrap this up tonight. Any final thoughts before we go?
Well, I think we've tried an experiment tonight. We're doing a broadcast on delay, and you're delivering it at 60 frames per second to YouTube. And so I think some feedback from people about what they think of that change in quality would be really good. And thank you very much for your broadcasting continued support. And I think we've had a pretty interesting shake-up tonight for the Monday Lights series. So let's just hope that this continues to build, Bernie. Good stuff tonight.
Yeah, I'm sure it will continue to build. This is really, with the Monday Night Lights series, it's really bringing the Monday night racing alive a bit. So I'm looking forward to continued coverage of this great series. But yeah, folks, we are trying an experiment here. The options we've got, we can broadcast live at 30 frames a second, or we can broadcast on delay at 60 frames a second. So just give us your feedback on this broadcast and leave a comment, and we'll see where we go. But anyway, Richard, thanks so much for joining me in here again tonight. It's been a pleasure as always, mate.
Yeah, thanks, Bernie. I do enjoy it. It's fun driving, but this is a good extra perspective, and I'm having a more relaxed season this season, so it's really great to be sitting here watching the guys do it, and in the comfort of the lounge room.
Yeah, that's right. But anyway, folks, thank you so much for watching. As I always say, if it wasn't for you guys, we would not be broadcasting, because we do this for you, and we hope you enjoy the racing. But on behalf of Richard Craig, I'm Bernie Wiemers, and thanks for watching RRTV.